Coming up on KOTA Territory News at 5:30, it's Fire Prevention Week, and we'll have tips on how you can avoid causing a fire or explosion when disposing of dangerous waste. Plus, the ongoing federal government shutdown is having troublesome effects close to home. We'll show you how. And Governor Larry Roden tours Rapid City's new women's prison. Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Jack Cottle. The prosecution continued to call witnesses today in the ongoing trial of Ezekiel Mayweather. Mayweather is charged with aiding and abetting first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the shooting death of Esther Wolf in February of last year. Firearms, marijuana, and alcohol were all entered into evidence as law enforcement testified in regard to their searches and arrest. Other witnesses further testified to Mayweather's ownership of the vehicle used in the crime and his alleged assistance in selling the murder weapon after the fact. One witness stated that they were scared of Mayweather and his people. The trial will continue tomorrow. Deadwood City Commissioner Blake Joseph is facing a recall election after petition signatures to put his seat to a vote were verified by the City Finance Office. Setting a date for that recall election is on tonight's Deadwood City Commission agenda, but Joseph has filed for a temporary restraining order to keep that from happening until he has a chance to challenge those petitions. His court filings claim in part that he was denied access to the petitions and that allegations against him are unsubstantiated and unproven.
There's multiple facts that are flying around, and I think they are sowed in defamation. You know, incidences that could arise from the past, things that I was not allowed to talk about or add a voice to. And even coming in here, I'm asked about questions of ongoing cases. As a professional, we do not speak about those things until they are finished. I, again, tell you, I would like to know and talk to the people who filled out the petition to see what their actual grievances are. I have yet to hear from those people.
A hearing is scheduled in 4th Circuit Court in Deadwood on December 11th to consider Joseph's request for that restraining order. Governor Larry Roden toured the new women's prison in Rapid City today, nearly 2 years after its groundbreaking. The medium security facility, located on North Creek Drive near Feeding, South Dakota, will have space for 288 beds to help the overcrowding at the state's only other women's prison in Pierre. Governor Roden said he was impressed with what he saw of the facility during his tour, adding it's a lot closer to home for a large portion of inmates in Pierre. The focus of the new facility will be on job skills, drug and alcohol treatment, and rehabilitation.
We're over the hump right now in South Dakota for focusing our attention on rehabilitation instead of just solely incarceration. I think that will benefit the state for years to come because the vast majority of these women and men in the men's prison will be in our communities sooner or later. We're working on giving them the opportunity to survive and be a contributing member to society.
Construction of the new facility is slated to end in late spring or early summer of next year. It was a chilly start to the day. Chief Meteorologist David Stradling is here to let us know if it will get any colder. Yeah, it was furnace weather out there.
Yeah, kicked the heat on a little bit this morning to get things to warm up in the house. It was a chilly start for many. As you'll notice, we have a lot of 30s on the map behind me and a 40 on the dot for the Rapid City Airport. However, it is going to get a little colder overnight tonight, and we're talking cold with frost and freeze alerts in place. We had a lot of clouds pass through today, a bit of sunshine midday, but a few more clouds are moving through now, spitting off a few showers from just north of Rapid City to the Belle Fourche area and into northwest South Dakota. Live look downtown Rapid City, there are some clouds moving through right now. We'll be talking temperatures falling into the evening hours. We're already in the 40s towards Newcastle and Custer, but many others holding steady in the 50s at the moment. As we go overnight tonight, we'll notice very cold temperatures. There's a freeze warning for northeast Wyoming and a frost advisory for parts of western South Dakota. More details on that will be coming up.
Thank you, David. It's day 6 of the government shutdown, and as both sides continue to blame each other, sick calls are stacking up at air traffic control facilities, potentially affecting your next flight. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the nation's airspace remains safe, but some facilities have as many as 50% of employees calling out. He warns that could result in flight delays and cancellations. Duffy also stresses the longer this shutdown lasts, the more it will impact the training of additional air traffic controllers. Meanwhile, funding for the Essential Air Service, which brings flights to underserved rural communities, runs out on October 12th. The federal government shutdown is hitting close to home, directly impacting families on the Pine Ridge Reservation who depend on programs such as the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. The Oglala Sioux Tribe Energy Office says program applications will not open this month because funding for next year is still unclear. Changes at the federal level and delays in Congress are holding up the budget. It is not yet known if the program will get full funding or face cuts. If proposed cuts move forward, it could impact many families who need help with heating and utility costs. The situation may change depending on budget outcomes, and the tribe's Facebook page will post updates. It's Fire Prevention Week, and this year's theme is all about safety in the age of technology. From powering your phone and laptop to power tools and electric scooters, lithium-ion batteries are everywhere. But if they're not handled correctly, they can spark a dangerous fire. That's why the Rapid City Fire Department is teaming up with Solid Waste to raise awareness about the hidden dangers of these batteries that seem to be all over.
Not much has happened here in the homes in the residential side and businesses of Rapid City, but at the landfill, they're seeing them happen. Fires, explosions basically take place all the time when they're compacting trash and stuff because they're improperly disposed of.
Firefighters recommend using only the charger that came with your device or a manufacturer-approved replacement. Always unplug when fully charged and never charge on soft surfaces like pillows or beds. And when it's time to get rid of them, never throw them in the trash or the recycling bin.
We want you guys to take action by never throwing them away or putting them in your recycling bin. We want you to take them to, there's 2 locations here in Rapid City that will take them for free. It'll be Interstate Battery and then Batteries Plus. That prevents the fires that we're seeing happen here in Rapid City at the landfills.
For more information and tips on how to stay safe, go to our website at KOTATV.com. More than 2,000 babies in the United States die of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, each year. That's according to Boston Children's Hospital. South Dakota's Department of Health has some information you should know this SIDS Awareness Month.
While sudden infant death syndrome may have you picturing a crib, 63% of sleep-related infant deaths from 2019 through 2023 happened in adult beds. 89 of those deaths happened in South Dakota, and 87% of them were deemed preventable. When it comes to safe sleep basics, remember your ABCs. A. Alone. Babies should sleep alone with no bedding, pillows, blankets, or toys. B. Back. Always place babies on their back for every sleep. And C. Crib. Use a firm and flat sleep surface in a safety-approved crib or bassinet. We'll have more on safe sleep and sudden infant death syndrome later this week.
The weather cooled down considerably over the weekend. How's the week ahead looking? We'll have the latest in your accurate First Alert forecast coming up later. First, China boycotts U.S. soybeans, and local farmers brace for impact. Stay with us. A deal to help South Dakota's soybean farmers survive China's boycott is expected to be announced as soon as tomorrow. That's according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who said substantial support is on the way. China slapped 20% tariffs on U.S. soybeans after President Trump announced tariffs last spring, making U.S. beans uncompetitive in price. China has been the biggest foreign buyer of American soybeans for many years, but it hasn't bought any this harvest season, which began in September. Chief Meteorologist David Stradling says warm air returns later this week. The details are in your accurate First Alert forecast next.
Now, the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist David Stradling.
We've had a mix of sun and clouds today. A lot more of that cloud cover earlier this morning where temperatures were chilly. There was a little bit of drizzle, but we got into the 50s this afternoon. A little bit of clouds passing through right now. 50s for many in KOTA territory. We are looking at 40s towards Custer and Newcastle, 52 over towards Sheridan, 48 in Hewlett, closer towards the Black Hills. You'll notice those 30s a little more prominent from Four Corners. Nemo area about 48 degrees. We're still in the 50s, 57 in downtown Rapid City. Up Spearfish, 50 on the dot. We do have freeze warnings for northeast Wyoming, Gillette, Wright, Newcastle, outside of the Black Hills, as where those temperatures will be falling to near 30 or colder. However, into western South Dakota, we have frost advisories. You'll be noticing those for parts of Harding and Perkins County, the plains of Pennington, Custer, and Fall River, and also Oglala, Lakota County will be tracking temperatures in the mid to upper 30s which will allow for some frost to develop. Downtown Rapid City is not under that frost advisory. However, I personally wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of frost develop around town, as I'm forecasting a low of 37. So if you have any sensitive vegetation you want to save for a little bit longer, cover them up with a sheet or bring them inside and save them from the colder temperatures overnight tonight. We're down to 37 in town, 40 up towards Faith. You'll notice mid-30s all across the South Dakota Plains, Spearfish in the 30s as well, 20s for Custer and out towards Sheridan. So very cold air for many of us overnight tonight, kind of the coldest of the season for some of us. By tomorrow afternoon, we'll be 64, temperatures near average, though slightly breezy, 10 to 25 mile-per-hour winds. Nothing too bad throughout the day tomorrow, but as we take a look at that, we'll notice some of those gusts 20 miles per hour or a little bit higher into the afternoon hours. Winds will increase a little bit going into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. Some of those gusts up to 30 miles per hour overnight, peaking midday Wednesday, 30 to 45 mile-per-hour wind gusts from South Dakota Plains, from western into central South Dakota. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on there, as it will be quite breezy going into the middle of the week. By the weekend, we're quite warm again. On Saturday, 83 degrees, a few showers Sunday, high of 70. Both days will likely be a little breezy. We'll keep temperatures favored to be above normal for much of the Dakotas during the middle of the month from the 12th to the 16th, but western Wyoming, central and western Montana favored to be below normal. In terms of the temperatures, we'll all have an equal chance of looking at above normal moisture during that time period, as well as showers will be likely into the middle of next week. Temperatures tonight fall into the 20s for a few of us, but many in the 30s. Clear, chilly with areas of frost. Now as we go throughout the day tomorrow, we'll be in the 60s. A few spots in the hills only climbing to the upper 50s, but it's a bit warmer than what we were for today. You'll notice over the next 3 days in northeast Wyoming, temperatures will be climbing nearly every single day into the 60s and 70s on Wednesday. Thursday, everyone will be in the 70s. For the northern and central southern Black Hills, temperatures go from the 50s and 60s tomorrow into the 60s and 70s Wednesday. All around 70s by Thursday. A lot of sunshine on tap, and temperatures in the South Dakota Plains could say the same thing, 60s to the 70s. In Rapid City, our warmest day will be Saturday at 83, cooling down to the 50s by Monday. So we'll be enjoying some nice weather for the weekend, a few showers possible Sunday, and then it cools back off to start next week.
So had the fireplace burning at home last night, may not need it here for a few days at least again.
Yeah, after tonight, things are going to warm back up. Those overnight lows go to the 40s and 50s, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right, thank you, David. The National Weather Service upgraded June 20th tornado in Enderlin, North Dakota to an EF5 rating, the strongest rating on the enhanced Fujita scale. KOTA Territory's Brad Walton was reporting on storms in Hardin County that day and gives us a recap.
June 20th proved to be a historic day for severe weather in the northern plains, and it all began in KOTA Territory.
We have a tornado warning supercell here in Hardin County, South Dakota.
A severe thunderstorm kicked off the day with winds exceeding 80 miles per hour, 3-inch wide hail, and strong rotation prompting numerous tornado warnings near Buffalo.
Bright red on bright green is not a good scene.
Fortunately, this storm did not produce a tornado as it passed through Buffalo, but other communities wouldn't be so lucky. 4 hours later, the storm system intensified and produced an extremely powerful nighttime tornado in Enderlin, North Dakota, killing 3 people. Limited construction quality of buildings impacted led damage surveyors to initially rate the Enderlin tornado as an EF3 on the enhanced Fujita scale, indicating wind speeds greater than 135 miles per hour. However, the tornado tossed heavy train cars upwards of 400 feet, leading researchers to revisit the rating. Monday, the National Weather Service officially rated the Enderlin tornado as an EF5, the strongest category, with wind speeds exceeding 210 miles per hour. This rare rating is the first of its kind since 2013, ending a 12-year drought. In Hardin County, Brad Walton, KOTA Territory News.
Coming up in sports, it was day 3 for the Rapid City Rush training camp. Ice today for practice. And the Class AA Boys State Golf Tournament was hosted at Meadowbrook Golf Course. Noah Miller has that and more in KOTA Sports.
And now, KOTA Territory Sports, sponsored by your local Ford stores.
Good evening and welcome to KOTA Sports. The Class AA Boys Golf was taking place right here in Rapid City today. We'll get to that, but first, the Rapid City Rush are just a little over a week away from their season opener on the road. And it was day 3 of the Rapid City Rush hockey training camp. The team started practice at 10:30 this morning, and they were going through their drills, and then practice was stopped so they could talk about the plays. And one thing I got to take away from this practice is that this Rush team was focused and really paid attention whenever first-year head coach Dave Smith was talking, and I asked him and Ryan Wagner after practice what they thought about how the team is coming together.
I think our core group is sending the right messages, in the locker room about our preparation, about their interest in being a very good hockey team, and that allows us as coaches to, bring the right things to the table. But the effort and the attitude is going to be there because the core leaders have set that tone.
Overly excited, super happy. Everyone that's been here that I've met is an amazing person. The coaching staff has done an unbelievable job putting this group together, and confidence will come as time goes on. I think that comes with being comfortable with everyone, being able to trust everyone, but I'm confident we'll get there and be ready for game 1.
Taking a look at the Rush upcoming schedule, they have an inter-squad scrimmage Saturday at 3 p.m. and entry is free to attend with doors opening at 2. Their first game is on the road against the Kansas City Mavericks on the 17th, and then they have their home opener on the 24th against the Wichita Thunder. Class AA state golf was taking place at Meadowbrook Golf Course today. Here's a nice shot from Harrisburg player to get close enough for a putt. And there were a lot of good golf this afternoon at state. A lot of these kids' short games are really good, and they were knocking down putts all day long. The school that currently leads is Harrisburg, combining for +7, and O'Gorman right on their heels with +11. For our local kids that are competing at state today, Dean Lafayette from Spearfish is in 24th shooting a 79. Levi Geary from Stevens is in 34th shooting an 81. Alec Dunwoody from Spearfish shot an 82 and is tied with a lot of players for 43rd place. And Jackson Dotson from Sturgis shot an 82 as well. There were over 100 players in the state tournament. So seeing this many local kids in the top 50 for day 1 is really good. And hopefully some of them can make their way up in the standings tomorrow. The best school in our area is Stevens, who is in 13th place shooting a combined +44. Here are the Class A girls state tennis standings that are going on out in Sioux Falls today. Rapid City Christian is highlighted in 2nd place with 312 points, and right behind them is St. Thomas More with 239 points. Both STM and RC Christian have been having really good days. Addie Palmer is in the championship semifinals for Flight 1, and Amity Strand for STM is also in the semifinals for Flight 1. And Flight 2, Evie Byers from Rapid City Christian is going up against Evie Renick from STM, and Alex Love from RC Christian and Alaya Strand from STM are in the semifinals for Flight 3 as well, along with Marissa Heidecker from RC Christian being in Flight 4 semifinals, and in semifinals for Flight 6 is Nora Beckloff from RC Christian. So RC Christian and STM are going to be battling it out in Sioux Falls for that 2 spot. And RC Christian is going to try to get back into the top spot as they were earlier today. And that's a look at sports. We'll be right back to take a final look at your weather.
Be sure to tune in to KOTA Territory News at 6 on Fox. Changes are coming to the way students apply for financial aid. We'll show you what's new.
Sometimes it just verifies a lot of information about the student for the schools.
Plus a few things you can do to save hundreds of dollars on your home heating bill. Those stories and more are at 6 on Fox.
It's officially fall when you know what that means. Cooling temperatures, colorful foliage, and falling leaves. Plus, the sight of the harvest moon on a clear autumn night. The harvest moon will be visible from Monday night into early Tuesday. It should be extra special because this year it's also the first of 3 back-to-back supermoons. A supermoon happens when the moon reaches its nearest point to Earth, making it look larger and fuller. October's full moon is called the harvest moon because it's the full moon closest to the first day of fall. Historically, its bright light helped farmers finish their harvest for the year. We talked about clear autumn nights. Are we going to get those here to look at the harvest moon?
Yes, it is going to be clear here tonight. We do have some clouds in right now, but those should be pushing away over the next 3 to 4 hours, and then those skies will clear up for us, and temperatures are going to tumble. We're talking temperatures in the upper 30s in Rapid City, patchy frost possible, and we're talking about freeze warnings in northeast Wyoming, frost advisories from northwest to southwest South Dakota. A look at that 7-day forecast will warm us up into the 70s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It will be a bit breezy Wednesday, Friday, and for the weekend. And we're also going to have some of those temperatures get quite warm on Saturday, 83 degrees. Not quite the 93 like we saw last Friday, but still pretty warm for this time of year as our average high is closer towards 60. We'll be falling back down into the 50s into early next week, and those temperatures will stay near average for much of that.
83 will still work for a nice Saturday, though.
I'd say so.
Absolutely. That'll do it for us. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you tonight at 10.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.